How you doing? Hello again.
Okay.
Good. This is called Sleeping Beauty. John 16. I have yet many things, this is Jesus talking. I have yet many things to say unto you, but you cannot bear them now. Howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth, for he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, shall he speak. And he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he shall receive of mine, and show it unto you. All things that the Father has are mine. Therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and show it unto you. Just because you don't believe something doesn't mean that it's not truth. Jesus said that the job of the Spirit of truth is to guide into truth. Why? Because truth is not the same as fact. A fact is something that is known or that has been proven to be true. Fact has to do with natural reality that has been proven through experience or observation. But truth is continually unfamiliar. And without a guide, it would remain unknown. That's why he said the Spirit of truth would guide us. Christianity studies its known facts, but the Spirit of truth guides seekers, not studiers. Remember, you heard it here first. Truth flows from the heart of God. My soul follows religious fact because my soul's ability to increase, although great, is limited just like religion. My soul has an extreme ability to increase, but it's still limited. It's only the Spirit that has the ability to increase without limits, without boundaries, and without borders. Christianity, for 2,000 years, has served a familiar and a knowable God. A God who is comfortably predictable in all of his thoughts and ways. A God who has been studied and thoroughly examined. A God who fits between Genesis and Revelation, and although it remains unspoken, that's all the God I need. Give me the God that fits between Genesis and Revelation, and I'm good. In fact, the majority of Christians believe that that's all the God that there is. Why? Because that's all the God that's been offered to them. That's all they've been taught. Look at John in chapter 2. And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee. You didn't know we were going to talk about this, did you? And the mother of Jesus was there. And both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus said unto him, they have no wine. Jesus said unto her, Woman, what have I to do with thee? My hour is not yet come. His mother said unto the servants, Whatever he says to you, do it. And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firkins apiece. Jesus said unto them, Fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he said unto them, Draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water, that it was made wine, and he knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom. And he said unto him, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But you have kept the good wine until now. This beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. Remember, we talked about a week or two ago, on down in John chapter 2, in the same scripture, in the same, right after this wedding feast, where Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, and he had said, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Remember, we talked about that a week or two ago. So here Jesus is at a wedding, and prophetically John adds that the wedding is on the third day. It's kind of cool that he put it. The wedding was on the third day. Remember, Jesus said, destroy this temple, and on the third day, I'm going to raise it up again. How many understand that we've always got to look for the prophetic in whatever Jesus is doing? With God, nothing is random. A marriage represents a union where two become one. This marriage on the third day is prophetic of the joining together of Christ and his body. Jesus said, in 3 days I will raise it up. In 3 days I will raise it up. In fact, he said it here in John 2, but he also said it 4 times in John chapter 6. I will raise it up. 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 In 3 days. The word raise means I will rouse them from their sleep. I will rouse them from death. I will raise them from inactivity and from obscurity. How many know what the word obscurity means? It literally translates the lack of clarity or the lack of understanding. He said on the third day, I will raise them to clarity and to understanding. Remember, in Matthew chapter 25's parable of the 10 virgins, Jesus said that while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. While the bridegroom withheld his presence for 2,000 years, he said all of them slumbered and slept. So regardless of what we have believed as believers, we have all been asleep for the last 2 days. That's what he said. How many know that 1,000 years is the same as the day with the Lord is 1,000 years? We've all been asleep. The entire church. No matter how close to God you believe that you've been, we've all been asleep. We've all been asleep. Jesus prophesied it. The church has, in fact, been the true story of Sleeping Beauty. When the brothers Grimm wrote their version of the tale of Sleeping Beauty, how many thought Walt Disney wrote Sleeping Beauty? Sleeping Beauty's actually been a story that's been told since the 1300s. That's kind of cool, huh? But when the brothers Grimm wrote their version of the tale of Sleeping Beauty in the early 1800s, they wrote it as literally an unavoidable prophecy. They wrote it as if they were looking at something bigger than just a fairy tale. How many understand that when Jesus prophesied that the church would be asleep for 2 days and be raised up on the third day, that it was unavoidably prophetic? There's nothing we can do to stay awake. There's nothing the church could have done to stay awake. She was prophesied to fall asleep. Again, sleep prophetically declares a lack of clarity, a lack of vision, and a lack of understanding. The church would be destroyed for her lack of understanding. In fact, remember what Jesus said about the tares of confusion that would be embraced by the church. Much of what has been embraced by the church as far as their doctrine and dogma have been tares of confusion that Jesus prophetically talked about. Look at Matthew 13, verses 24 and 25. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. And look what it says. But while man slept, his enemy came, sowed tares among the wheat, and then went on his way. The reason that the devil was able to effectively sow confusion in the church was because for the first 2,000 years, she's been asleep. But how many understand the significance of the third day? Again, on the third day, the two became one. It's a time of joining of Christ and the body. On the third day, old things pass away and all things become new. Remember this. The third day represents the last day, and he saves the best for last.
Yeah.
Look at John 2, 10 and 11 again. And he said unto him, every man at the beginning sets forth good wine. When men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But you kept the good wine until now. This beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. Every man at the beginning sets forth the best. This was the beginning also of Jesus'